Great organization. First, we promised that we would extend a big congratulations on behalf of Mayor Gratishar, who sincerely wishes he was here, able to be here today as well. Please help me welcome Commissioner Garrison Ortiz.
Thank you, Rory. I wasn't sure whether I was ready to speak it or not. I want to, thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. What an exciting event. I think this is really indicative that times and events are coming back. And I just could not be excited to see so many wonderful faces, be at an event here this morning. And I want to give a special thank you to Tamara and all of her team. I can tell you I didn't know too much about a Caring Pregnancy Center probably a couple years ago, but I came to know a lot about it. And the reason, if you know Tamara and her team, they're so passionate about the work that they do. She's a fellow Rotarian with me, and so she talks about the work and mission of this organization constantly. And I think it's just such a natural thing that they really care about, that anyone who comes around here knows that all the work that they do is done with a lot of compassion and just out of a spirit of help. So really appreciate the services that you provide. You're a member of CSAC, so we're always glad to support these efforts financially through the city and county of Pueblo. And I want to welcome everyone that's here this afternoon in support. I promised that I would try to be brief. I'd like to introduce Representative Stephanie Luck. I believe she is here. She is new in her capacity. Wonderful representative. Her and I have had a lot of conversations here recently, and I'll hand the mic over to her.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, like Commissioner Ortiz, am just delighted to be here, to be out with people, and to be celebrating a wonderful event in the history of this city. As I think about the people who are going to walk through this door over the next few weeks and months and years, hopefully even decades, I think of the amount of emotion that will flood them. I think of a dear friend of mine who, when we lived in a town that didn't have such a source, was unfortunately raped and was fearful of what that might mean and whether or not she herself might be pregnant. And I thought of how hopeless and helpless I felt in not knowing where to direct her, and not knowing where she could go to get the type of support and ministry and care that she needed. Knowing that this place exists, knowing that there are people like you all who volunteer here or work here, who donate to ensure that this place continues to exist, it encourages me, because I know that the young girls or older girls, women, families, men, all of those who are in need of the support that is provided here have an opportunity to be able to process through different life experiences. My prayer is that for all of those people who walk through this door, wondering, concerned, fearful, anxious, overwhelmed, that they will leave these doors. And I believe that they will, because of the care you all provide. They will leave with hope and joy, excitement, anticipation, support, and an undergirding, knowing that their life is inherently valuable, and if they're carrying a new life, that one is too, and that this community will come alongside and support them to ensure that all of those lives are cared for and able to walk in the fullness of their potential. So thank you guys for doing this. Thank you for sacrificing, for giving of yourselves for that purpose, and may you all just be abundantly blessed for the blessing that you are to this town. Thank you. It is my privilege to introduce Councilman Mark Aliff. Oh, behind me. All these masks, it's hard to see.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm very proud to be a part of this today. This is a ministry that's very near and dear to my heart. I want to give special congratulations to Tamara and her staff. You have done phenomenal work within your service area and done things that most people don't want to do. You do it, and it's just fantastic. A special thank you to the donors. Without you, obviously, this ministry couldn't continue. I thank Commissioner Ortiz, the county commissioners, along with City Council, support this through our CSAC. It's just very important to us. I was talking just a minute ago with Mr. Crocker of Black Hills Energy. What blew my mind when I read the announcement to this is that 1,800 abortions in this service area were performed in the last year. As a community, and rightfully so, we mourn and we feel bad about the COVID-19 deaths and what's going on with this pandemic. But in reality, this pandemic of infanticide that's been going on in the United States of America for years and decades has got to come to an end. Yes. And thank the Lord that there's ministries like this that share the love of Jesus Christ with people in their darkest hour and bring them to a place where abortion is just not an option any longer. It is so important to us as not only Americans but as humans. And I just can't stress enough how important this is to our community. And once again, thank you, Tamara. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your staff, and our prayers are for continued success.
Thank you, Councilman Aliff. Appreciate your remarks. And good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stephen Trujillo. I'm here on behalf of the team at the Latino Chamber of Commerce. And I want to take a minute and welcome you to, I believe, the very first ribbon cutting of 2021. So another reason to celebrate. There you go, setting the bar, right? It helped us to identify where we put the ribbon cutting bag this morning at the office, so thank you. It helps a great deal. But I just want to take a moment and again echo the many comments that on behalf of my colleagues and others that have spoke here this morning, we'll hear from a few others here in just a moment, how incredibly proud we should be as a community that this dedicated team that is passionate about their work and ministry is right here in Pueblo, Colorado. You are only a stranger but once when you walk through these doors, and it's evident. I've had the pleasure of coming in on a couple of times to visit. We've had some events here to just learn more about their work in our community. And every time you see the smiles, the passion, and the dedication that they have to serve, to take care of, and fulfill the mission that they have to empower women and to change families for the good in our community of Pueblo. And I think that's an opportunity for us as a community to take a step back, to celebrate, and to recognize these amazing individuals that we have working day in and day out. And to know that in ways that when we give, I know some of their galas that they have are some of the biggest in our community. It's incredible. But that means that they have a whole community behind them continuing to support, and that's what matters for them and for the other many businesses that we represent across the chamber industry. So on behalf of the Latino Chamber's Board of Directors and staff, we have a small token of our appreciation that we'd like to present to Tamara and her team, wishing you all the very best of success as you continue on doing your service. And now at this time, I have the pleasure of introducing my good friend and colleague from the chamber industry. Thank you so much. Phyllis Zamora, the Vice President with the Pueblo Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much, and it's good to see everybody out here for our very first ribbon cutting of 2021, and let's hope it continues. I know we're getting a lot of calls at the chamber, and we just need to open up, but please remember, everybody, stay safe, wear your mask, keep a safe distance, and those kinds of things. So I would truly like to congratulate Tamara on this amazing facility too. For all of us, or most of us, we know somebody who has been pregnant or is pregnant or will be pregnant, and no one has come up with that magic book on what to do at that very moment when this happens, except for Tamara. So yeah, it's on your staff. So it is an amazing thing, and I'm glad that they continue to teach everyone about what a true miracle a baby is and how fulfilling it is. I know I have 2 grandchildren, and I told my daughter, I can forgive you for everything you've done because it's grandchildren. Babies are wonderful, but the whole pregnancy is a whole other world, and there are many that need help and need the guidance to do that. So thank you for making the addition and doing everything that you do. And I want you to know that you're not only known just in Pueblo County, you truly have a great reputation for beyond too. So thank you so much for everything you're doing and your great team that puts us all together. So thank you everyone for coming to ribbon cuttings. Please remember to support small business and get out there when you do see a ribbon cutting. Nice to see Councilman Alef and Commissioner Ortiz. Sorry, thank you so much. Anyway, nice to see you guys. Nice to see everyone. Rory, glad to see you're up and out of it. Good guy. Okay, and at this time, then I guess I am supposed to introduce. Dr. Wright.
So I think we're going to hand them the box. So we'd like to give you this token of our appreciation for opening, and it's our ribbon cutting little box here. So, yeah.
Beautiful shadow box with scissors and a ribbon.
I sat here and actually watched. I don't know where Frank is, but I watched Frank like struggle with this, and because I was on his speed dial every day, and so it's like, "How you doing, Frank?" He's like, "I'm putting drywall up today," and, you know, or I'm calling, you know, the steel guy to do the sign, or I'm, you know, they all work tirelessly for this edition. So I'm going to give it back to.
I do just have a quick statement that I'd like to read at this time on behalf of Amy, who again, unfortunately could not be here today, but she sends her best and all her well wishes. And she says, "I cannot tell you how much I was looking forward to this awesome event and seeing everyone. To Tamara and Frank and everyone on this amazing team, congratulations and thank you for your amazing service to our community and across Southern Colorado. While there are great services and resources throughout the organization, the most valuable thing you offer here is acceptance, love, and hope to all who call your phone lines or walk through your doors. To those in attendance today, as Tamara tells you more about the services of ACPC, as you take the tour and meet the staff and volunteers, remember that we too are ambassadors for our community. The more we know, the better resources that we become for those who may be in need around us. So listen, ask questions of volunteers, take information, and continue to be the helpers and the difference makers wherever you go." So we send our best to Amy as well, and that's a statement to the team on behalf of Amy Gasparetti, Director of the Pueblo West Chamber. And now at this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce to you the Vice President of the ACPC Board, Mr. Vance Crocker.
I don't know what's worse, the mask or the chilly weather. You know, today when I came here, it went from excited to really inspired. And the inspiration comes from seeing all of you out here and then hearing Representative Luck, our councilmen, commissioners get up and share and speak. And to have our community leadership and our state leadership here, along with all of you, is amazing. This is important work. This is God's work. And it's great to be part of this. So thanks for being here. You know, ACPC, there's a word in that acronym. It's called caring. And that's really what Tamara and team does. It's about caring for our community and people coming together, people in need. And it's really neat to see that, to hear some of the stories that this team actually hears and experiences. And you all know a lot of the great services that are provided here. And I look at this building behind me, and I think of growth, right? We all want growth, and when we look at ACPC and the clients, I wrote down a stat here: 30% more clients than the national average, and over 500 new clients each year. That's why this building is important. And then on the close out and say, it's always important that we never lose sight of the mission. And I wrote this down, and it's about helping the clients, the young women, the men that come in. But it's about, I wrote down, bringing these precious lives into this world to make such a huge difference. And you can go out and look at a lot of different people, and you can see that every life is God ordained, it's special, and they have a special part in this place we call our world. And so thank you to the donors, thank you for everyone being here, your time. It's making a huge difference, and I'm just proud to be part of this crowd that's around, so thank you.
And now at this time, I believe we're going to welcome up to the podium, or to the stage, or wherever we are here. There you go, the bench. Chief Executive Officer Tamara Axworthy.
Well, when I talked to Amy, I wasn't really sure. Can you guys hear okay with this?
All right, that's better. Okay. I didn't realize how much that would actually block. That's interesting. Anyway, I talked to Amy yesterday and trying to figure out, well, this is my first ribbon cutting, so I wasn't really sure what you would be interested in hearing. And she said, well, talk about the history and talk about the process and what went into this building and everything it took. And I'm not sure how many of you realize, but Pueblo has had ACPC in our community since 1982, really. It was the first version of ACPC started in 1982. We were incorporated in 1984. So we're a 37-year-old organization. That says a lot about our longevity and our sustainability here in the community. And as was mentioned before, that's because of our support. That's because of donors and people in the community who are our ambassadors. It's because clients who continue to come year after year and become volunteers and potentially board members and staff members down the road. We have a number here that would love to talk to you guys later. Actually, we have a couple of clients who started off as clients, and we've got one who became a staff member, one who became a board member, and another who has just become a great community liaison. So I encourage you to take a few minutes and speak to them today before you go. But that's just a testament that the word of mouth is still our number one referral source. The internet is a huge one, that's our number two, but word of mouth is really number one. So I'm counting on all of you to be those ambassadors going forward and sharing the awesome news about what's going on here at ACPC. I mentioned the history there. We moved into this building in 1994. So we were over on 2nd Street for a little while. We were on Main before that, but we have been in this building for quite some time now. And when I started here in 2014, we had 5 staff. And that has increased. I wrote that down by a percentage here somewhere. 175%. So our staff number, so you can tell, that little building, we were on top of each other. We had every single office had multiple staff members in it. Our volunteers, we have 51 volunteers who put in well over 1,000 hours last year. Helping us out, and so you could see that we were literally on top of each other. So this became a huge need for us, along with the number that Mark mentioned earlier, the 1,800 abortions in our community. We knew that we had the staff, we had the capacity, and we had the need to increase our client numbers. And we, with this building, we're able to do that by up to twice as many. He mentioned 500, Mark mentioned Vance mentioned 500 new clients a year. We could all but double that with the continued support of our community and with this building, which is incredible. Yes, thank you. So you guys see the mobile unit back there. We cast the vision for Anne the van. She has a name, she has a home. She's kind of homeless. We're actually getting ready to build her home. That little tent back there is where her garage is going to end up being, so she's no longer couch surfing. But we have that became a reality for us in 2017, and that enabled us to reach beyond the community. As Phyllis mentioned, our reputation extends well beyond Pueblo County, largely due to that and to our longevity here in Pueblo. And so we cast the vision for this new building back in 2019, and with the help of Harlan here, his contract was pretty much over before we realized that we had not picked a building yet. We were looking at places all over town, everything from 30,000 to 3 million, and had not found the perfect home. And then Dr. Filson, who had this building, came over one day and said, hey, I'm going to be moving in with my dad's practice and wanted to give you guys first dibs. What do you think? And Frank, being Frank, said yes. And it took a little longer than that for the board to come on with that idea, but sure enough, come May, we were able to close, and then construction started. And Frank was instrumental in getting all of that done, as were many of you. I see a number of people who helped out in that process. I'm sure Greg will share a little bit about what that looked like and felt like here in a minute. But we had, what did I say? Let me go down the list here. So construction and demo began in June, which included asbestos abatement, new walls, electrical, floors, windows, ceilings, lighting, plumbing, countertops, backsplashes, paints, all the IT, stucco wall, and this amazing logo that we have on the side of this building. So there was a lot of work that went into this. And a cool little factoid for all of you. We've raised $65,812.83 to help with the renovations and all the construction here. So that's, as was mentioned earlier, CSAC, that is a number of individual donors that is supporting churches who specifically earmarked funds to make this happen. We're almost done. I mentioned the garage. We're not quite all the way there, but it's coming really soon. And we could not have done it without all of that support. But that's a huge testament, again, I keep saying that word, to the support that the community has for this organization. And we're just honored to be able to serve in any capacity that we can. And we welcome you all here as our new ambassadors. So I know it's cold. That was already mentioned as well, so I'm not going to go into a lot more. But I just wanted to say thank you all so much for being here, for being part of this organization, a part of our day, part of this ceremony and this celebration. So before we get done, we will have staff members who are all wearing shirts like this positioned in the different buildings, so you can come through in groups of 5 to 8 and do a tour. Ask questions, take a look around, and then they'll pass you on to the next one so you can see all the facilities and to make sure you get to talk to some of the clients that are here as well. I don't know if I had a lot more written down here, but like I said, I don't want to take up all of your time. But a lot of people do ask, well, I mentioned earlier, I'm done with babies. I don't know that that's really for me, but I want you to know there's so much more to what we do than pregnancy. This clinic is all about early pregnancy detection, but that building there that you get to see in a minute too is that ongoing support, that crisis intervention, that material assistance, those community referrals and those partnerships that have really garnered the reputation that we have. We have well over 30 different agency partners in this community that are referral basis back and forth. So we're not in it alone, and neither are our clients. So thank you all so much. I mentioned him, but then I'm passing it off to Clean and forgot that I was supposed to introduce him too. So we do have another of our board members who's going to come up. I mentioned him already, but he's going to close us in prayer and just kind of talk about his contribution to the board. He's one of our newer members. He's our personnel committee chair and is doing a great job. He happens to be a local pastor, and he's one of my favorite people. I love his sense of humor. If you haven't got to meet him, you should. So great.
Galatians 6:9 says, "Do not grow weary in doing good, for in the proper time you will reap a harvest if you don't give up." And I have been on the board for a year now, and she says that, well, anyway, I won't go there. My sense of humor is a little twisted sometimes, but we've been working hard, and it's one of the really neat things about being a board member is you get to see the work that everybody else does. And I can tell you what, Tamara, Frank, Leanne, and everybody on the team, you guys have done such a wonderful job getting everything ready for what's going on here at a Caring Pregnancy Center. This summer, I dragged my kids in to help remodel the building here, and I have a 5th grader girl and a 2nd grade boy, and they were about as useful as that sounds. But what we were doing with them is that we were scrubbing the walls, because we had pulled off, or I didn't have anything to do with this part. Paul and Frank and the crew had pulled off all the wallpaper, and there was this wonderful starchy substance left on the wall. And they, of course, didn't want to deal with wallpaper anymore. They wanted to paint the walls. So my son and my daughter, I dragged over on Monday mornings for a few weeks, and we sprayed the water on the walls, and let it sit there for a second, and then started scrubbing. And I can tell you, you didn't really feel like you were doing much for a little while. You know, but then you went back and looked and saw that that work you're doing made a difference, because it was a little bit further along than it was the last time, and the last time, and the last time. And really, you know, you want to bring in somebody who really knows what they're doing. So the people who really knew what they were doing came and finally cleaned up all the other stuff. And, you know, when you have a 7-year-old boy involved with things don't usually get very clean. But the goal there was to teach my son, to teach my daughter the value of working and putting that into practice. And I'm not going to say that, I mean, all you guys are involved in the chamber, you're coming to be a part of these things, and everybody here at the center has worked so hard in these times. But it's really easy to get discouraged and get beat down in those moments where you're exhausted and you're tired. But then you have a moment where you can see the work completed. And there are going to be those days where you just feel like you're scrubbing the wall and it doesn't look like it's doing much good. But I tell you what, when you stick with it, you can see a day like today. And I've gotten to go through this building. We had a meeting on Saturday, and we got to tour the building here, and I've been in the building over here many times. God's doing a great work in this community through a Caring Pregnancy Center. And so kudos to all the staff as well. I know that Tamara gets and deserves as much credit as we give her, and Leanne and Frank do all the work, but there's so many staff members here that do so much and serve this community in such a special way. God loves life, and that's why we are here, is to promote life. So thank you for being a part of this today, and I've been asked to pray, so we're going to do that now. Father, you are so good to us. Thank you for, first of all, sending your son Jesus to pay the penalty for our sin, that when we have our hope in you, our trust in you, that we can know that our destiny is sure when we have trusted you for eternity. But Lord, I lift up the work of the center here today. I pray that you will continue to bless this place, these places now. And I pray that the lives that enter these doors know your love first. But God, I pray that you teach us to value life the way you do. And the work that happens here, may it come through lives that love you, and that we get the opportunity to love Pueblo, to love this area the way you do. And I pray for your protection. I pray for your providence, for your provision, all the things that we can ask for from you, Lord. But I pray that you just continue to provide for the needs in the amazing way that you have, especially over the last couple of years where I've gotten to see it so up close and personal, just seeing the testimony of your faithfulness. And may we realize this is all about you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think at this time, we're going to have Tamara and one of her colleagues stretch the ribbon out in front, and we have some others that are going to come on up and join us to cut the ribbon, so we'll take our cue from Tamara. Who are the 10 that are
All the staff.
All the staff.
Y'all have
Yeah. All right, let's have all the staff come up.
And then board members, can you guys kind of crowd around too? Brenda?
Tamara, do you want to take that?
Oh, there's more. Oh, this one might be bigger. Can we just tape them together?
Sorry.
Be careful, Lenore.
All right, all the staff. There's some scissors here on the bench.
Hey, Leanne, can you get in the middle and hold it?
Yeah.
Get in the middle and
Hold the ribbon together. Okay, we're going to have the staff come up to the ribbon. We want to have it.
Someone get on this side of the end.
Get on that side over here.
All right. Now, this is where everybody put, if you have a pair of scissors, just put it to the ribbon, but don't cut yet. You want to look straight to one of the many cameras in the audience, so take the pic. This is the photo op opportunity there, so everyone grab your photo. And then this is going to take some audience participation. We're going to count down from 5, and they'll cut the ribbons. Everybody ready? 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
cut. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for taking the time to be here today. We ask you to take a tour, learn some more, grab one of the staff or volunteers. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you at the next one. Take care.